So, yeah, probably you can already come on stage. I think we have 3 of the panelists here, and then we have 2 other ones joining. Maybe we can already show their face. So, yeah, good morning to everyone, to those in the room, but also to all those joining online. It's a pleasure for me to moderate this session on the SDGs, and I must say that the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development is central to my work at the European Space Agency, and would like to thank, of course, ERSC for giving me the opportunity to guide these discussions, but I need also to thank Monica Miguel Lago. Unfortunately, she cannot be with us today, but she's been so instrumental in shaping the sessions and assembling such a nice panel. I don't need to introduce myself, I think, to gain time. You have to allow me to go a bit beyond into the break, otherwise, because we have 5 panelists, so it's quite a lot. So, but I want to give a bit of introductions. So as many of you, the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development was adopted in 2015. And it called for a transformative action across social, economic, and environmental dimensions. So it went well beyond what was there before. And it's guided by 17 goals, the SDGs, and 169 targets. So very ambitious agenda. And the main goal is to embed the principle of sustainable development into national policies and processes. So if it's defined at the level of the UN, it's obviously implementing by countries. And it requires, of course, a strong monitoring and reporting mechanism. This means a solid framework of indicators. And these indicators are built on reliable statistical data. And you will understand where I'm bringing you with these whole discussions, because we need these indicators to track progress on the targets, to inform policies as well. Which it's not only about reporting, it's also about taking decisions and ensure accountability, of course, of all the stakeholders. So a global indicator framework was adopted in 2017. I insist a lot on the 17th because it was before the Copernicus program started, and it's quite important because this global indicator framework has not been defined with an Earth observation mindset. And you will see in the discussions we're going to have how important this was. But it still consists of 231 indicators. I think these are the final numbers. That collectively, they provide a sort of management tool for countries to implement development strategies and report on their progress towards the SDG targets. I must say, from the very beginning, basically from 2015 when the agenda was adopted, the importance of data as a foundation for sustainable development was emphasized, really from the onset. And also, this global indicator framework has not been developed with an Earth observation mindset. Geospatial information and Earth observations have emerged over the time as a sort of game changers to bridge the data gaps that countries were facing and provide this insight, or I should say, these actionable insights that allows to implement the SDGs and report on the progress. And 2 years ago, at the high-level political forum on sustainable development goals, which happens every year in New York, the UN Secretary General issued a call for, and then I phrase it, I name exactly what was said, a global rescue plan for the SDGs. So basically, it was acknowledged that the progress on the vast part of the indicators remain totally off track, and that data is still largely missing. And these gaps highlight the urgent needs for better data systems and better international coordinations in order to strengthen the monitoring frameworks and reporting efforts from all the actors, not only from the countries, and also address in certain ways the inequalities between countries. So the objective of this session is first to review the progress that we have made in integrating Earth observations into the SDG process, to share ideas on perspective of what has been achieved and what are the remaining challenges that we need to address, and to explore the pathways to better integrate Earth observation technologies in a more efficient way within the national systems that are in place for monitoring and reporting on the SDG indicators, and close these data gaps that I was mentioning. And we decided in these sessions to address this because you can address this from different angles. We decided to address this from the perspective of the national implementations, where the national statistical offices, or institutes, as we say sometimes in Europe, play a central role in close cooperation, of course, with the line ministries and the other national agencies that are producing these, they are supporting, let's say, the productions of official statistics. Something as well, you will see also from the panelists that while the focus on the session is on the Sustainable Development Goals and the indicator framework, we will probably go a bit beyond this and discuss the issue of integrating Earth observation in official statistics. And it's quite important, and there are a lot of challenges and opportunities, of course, and because these are in a bit similar in the different policy frameworks. So, and there is also good reason to address from a broader perspective, because from a neo viewpoint, what you're producing, the private sectors can serve multiple policies and not only the SDGs. So we want to discuss also with the panelists what is still needed to enable a full uptake of Earth observation in the SDGs and beyond. So that means covering the full spectrum of the policy frameworks. So we have a nice panel of 5 experts. So yes, they are all here. So 2 online, sorry, and 3 on stage. For questions of time, maybe I will ask you to introduce yourself and your organizations. I will ask the first questions. Then I skip the first round of questions to the panelists, and we will have 2 rounds of questions. The first round of questions will be discussing what has been achieved and what are the biggest challenges we need to address. And then in the second round, so I really need to go into the second round of questions, I will ask to each panelist to explain how the organizations have been addressing these gaps and the challenges. And I would like also in your answers that you think not only about what you need, but also what is the place for the private sectors to play into responding to these gaps and these challenges. And if time allows, and I hope that I will still have a bit of time to discuss also what's happening after 2030, because the global framework on sustainable development is now in a sort of reshaping phase, and some of the panelists are involved in that process. So, but before this, we'll ask 2 questions on Slidos. So I don't know if we can show this on the screen. So, where is it? Yeah, it's difficult because we have 2 panelists. So, and okay, so. And you should answer these questions, and we'll go through the answers after the first round of questions. So the very first questions, I would like to know if you've been involved in the SDGs. So either you as a company, as an organization, so have you been involved in either as a sort of research organizations in developing innovative approach, let's say, for a better uptake of Earth observation in the SDG methodologies, but also as a service company to operationalize these data pipelines. We talk very often about data pipelines and integrations of these Earth observation pipelines into the processes and the systems of the national statistical offices. So, yeah, so we don't need to see this now, because I will come back on this at the end of, so you have the time of the first round of questions to answer these questions. And then there is a second one. I guess that they can do the 2 questions at the same time, huh? Okay. The second one is on the challenges. I'm trying to see my screen. I don't know if we can show it. No, we cannot show it. So I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Okay, no problem. So let me start now with the first round of questions on the achievements and the challenges. And so I would like, of course, you to be brief in your answers in order to stay within the time, but we are allowed to go a bit beyond the time that was allocated to us, I'm sure. So, and I start with the need to modernize the official statistics, because that's something that has been existing for some time, even before the agenda on sustainable development was adopted. And the first question is to Tina. So Tina, please introduce yourself as well when you start. Your organization has been emphasizing the importance of modernizing the official statistics in general, and not only related to the SDGs. And in your view, we would like to see with you what can Earth observations data play in advancing these modernizations, and particularly for the production, the disaggregation, because that's a very important word, and the timeliness of the SDG indicators. Tina.
Yes, thank you. So I hope you can, hello to everyone. My name is Tina Luiga, and I'm the director of the statistical division of the UN Economic Commission for Europe, which is one of the 5 regional commissions, spanning from North America through Europe to all former countries of the Soviet Union, so from Vancouver to Vladivostok. And but in our work participate also all OECD countries, so we have like Mexico, New Zealand, Australia, very active, altogether about 65 countries. We work a lot with the statistical offices of these countries to help them modernize their statistical production. And this integration of official statistics with the geospatial data is one of the very important streams of this modernization. Because we can see in a way a development that geospatial data, including the Earth observations, should become a core component of official statistics and modern statistical ecosystems. But in reality, this is the case in maybe only a few countries, and in most countries we are still not yet there. As this session is dealing with SDG indicators and sustainable development in general, Earth observation data contributes to calculation of about 30 SDG indicators, to 15 directly and to another 15 more in more indirect way. What is good in that is also that these indicators can be calculated for countries who do not have a good statistical system also by somebody else, for example, by the international organizations who are responsible for certain indicators, and that is the case with quite a number of indicators. But what is good with linking statistics and geospatial data is exactly this disaggregation, and this that you can come down to the local level. The SDG indicators, this 231, they are meant to track progress at the global level. But people are more interested actually what is happening in their city, their village, their region, and this linking statistics with geospatial coordinates then allows to drill down to this local level when it's combined with administrative data, population data, and so on. But the key is not just the Earth observation data on its own, but its integration with statistics. And this is also the area where the challenges lie, because then you need interoperability between those two types of data, and this interoperability at all different levels, at the level of definitions, classifications, at the level of information structures, down to the really very technical level. We can see progress in this area, but whether the progress is quick enough is difficult to say. When we work on this, we always feel that it's not quick enough. And there are, yes, a lot of challenges. But when you can link those two types of data, it strengthens actually both sides. because in statistics it opens up kind of endless possibilities for better production, analysis, dissemination. And on the Earth observation side, this gives then an additional use for these data and kind of brings this to the next level. So in the interest of time, maybe I give floor to the next person.
Thank you, Tina. I think I like very much that you emphasized the importance to on the value of Earth observation to disaggregate spatially and be able to take decisions on the ground, which is something we should not forget. I mean, the indicators are not just there for reporting; they're just there also to make decisions. And the importance to bring the traditional statistics together with Earth observations. I think that was another key point that you highlighted very well. And you've seen, I mean, 30 indicators out of 231. And I always take the example of agricultural statistics, which is probably the one where we can do the most. And that's the one where we basically do nothing on these indicators because the indicators have not been defined in a way that it can be used. So, still talking about modernizing official statistics, it's also the vision of the International Associations of Official Statistics. So for Dominic, how do you see how Earth observation can contribute to your visions? And we always have the same words, timeliness, granularity, responsiveness, these whole aspects where Earth observations can really bring a lot. Dominic.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just to introduce myself, I'm president of the association. I'm also vice president of the Polish Statistical Association. I'm an assistant professor at the university teaching all those subjects that students hate, like statistics. I've been the president of Statistics Poland for 9 years, but my term has ended last year, and now I'm on the position of a deputy treasurer and chief financial officer of one of the biggest municipalities in Poland. And I jokingly say that for many years I had a pleasure of producing statistics. Now I have this terrible chance of using them. Actually, I have to use them. So my point of view has changed completely. But it's not that bad. I mean, in terms of the SDGs, I agree that it's 30 indicators directly or whatever that relates to the Earth observation in terms of the SDGs. But I would risk saying that all that national statistical offices are doing is somehow related to SDGs, because this strategy is an overwhelming strategy of well-being for the whole global community. So whatever we measure in the statistical offices, we like to use this example of the first principle of the fundamental principles that says that we are measuring whatever is important for economists, for society, in terms of economy and society and environment. So I think indirectly we are always measuring SDGs, even if it's not clearly visible. So the sky is the limit. I mean, what can we do with the Earth observation data in terms of statistical production? But I think that there are 6 major opportunities. I'm going to provide you with a kind of a strategic overview. And of course, as you have said, timeliness, frequency, and granularity, these are the things that we already knew. I mean, what we did in Poland, for example, is little system called Transstat, in which, thanks to the observations on the movements of vessels on the sea, we can estimate the pollution that is being produced by those vessels in the Baltic Sea. That's amazing, and that's amazing because we can produce it like almost real time. That's something that hasn't been possible before. But I think that there are 3 more relatively more important opportunities that are not so much discussed yet or haven't been explored that much as the previous 3. And I would say this is responsiveness and near real-time monitoring, as an example that I provided you, new indicators and products that we can produce with those sources. And the third thing, last but not least, I think that's the most important one, it's cost efficiency. Because this is something that is really not understood correctly. I mean, we've been watching what happens in the United States. We can have different opinions about this dodgy agency, but that's just the beginning of something that will go throughout all the countries, because we'll face a lot of budget cuts. I know that in my community, there has been recently tremendous budget cuts introduced for statistical offices, and the only way to escape to the future is to use those new data sources that can, improve our products and at the same time significantly decrease the cost. So it's not an opportunity anymore. I guess it's something that we must have, and the Earth observation is something that we have to introduce as quickly as possible. I can again provide you with the example of what we did in Poland when we introduced, like, one of the first countries, like, into official production system, the use of Earth observation for agricultural statistics, for crops estimates, and that really led to a significant decrease of the cost of the study. And we've been sharing those experiences with others for many years already. So I would like to stress this one last thing. I mean, because of budget cuts, that's the first thing, and the second thing, the raising competition on the information market that the National Statistical Offices raise, I think the only way to I use this term, escape to the future, sustaining your role within the society, is to really tackle those new data sources, of which Earth observations are probably the easiest to tackle, and we have to use them as quickly as possible, as deeply as possible.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dominic. I think it's good that you raised the issues of cost effectiveness, because it's definitely an argument that we can use in order to really promote the use of Earth observations, and the fact that Earth observation is used in other statistics, not only in the SDG indicators. You mentioned the crop statistics, which is also a nice opportunity moving into the post-2030 framework to advocate for this type of statistics that are already integrated in many countries. We'll move to Mary, because I'm sure that Mary can say a lot of things. So now, let you introducing yourself, Mary, because you have different heads, but you have a key role in all of this.
Hello, Mark. Thank you. And hello to our panelists and all of you attending. Thanks to ask for this opportunity to highlight some of the work we're doing from the statistical perspective, and to promote the work of the SDGs. So I work with the Statistics Office in Ireland in the SDG division, and I'm also the co-chair along with Columbia of the Working Group on Geospatial Information. And I'll abbreviate that to the WGGI. So who are we? We are a working group of the UN Interagency Expert Group on SDGs. And the Interagency Expert Group, sorry about all the acronyms, but that's the IAG. So the IAG is the body that developed the SDG indicator framework, the 231 indicators that are in place. And as Mark mentioned, when the indicator framework was adopted in 2017, geospatial information wasn't considered as a significant part of that work. And also he mentioned that Earth observation and geospatial data has grown exponentially since then. So the data and the technology wasn't there at the beginning when the framework was developed. And our role is to advise and bring expertise to the IAG on how geography and Earth observation can contribute to the production of the indicators. So our focus is on bringing geography to the SDGs. And as Tina mentioned, with the modernization of the official statistics and bringing all these new technologies and so on is a crucial part of the modernization process. The IAG had the last and final comprehensive review, which was known as the 2025 Comprehensive Review of the Indicators Framework. So what they do is they look at all the SDG indicators and see how they can refine the metadata, if the methodology needs improvement or if the indicator needs to be replaced. So we in the Working Group on Geospatial Information were focused on looking at the indicator framework. So we supported the IAG in this comprehensive 2025 comprehensive review, which was presented to the Statistical Commission at the start of the year. And looking at that through the geographical lens, and Tina also mentioned that 30 indicators can be considerably enhanced with geospatial data. So we produced the short list, which we split into List A and List B. So List A was approximately 50 indicators which can be produced directly from geospatial and Earth observation. And in some cases, the geospatial data is the indicator itself. And the List B, the other 15 indicators, are where the Earth observation and geospatial data can significantly contribute to the indicator or enhance the granularity of the data in terms of the localization of SDGs and reporting at national level. So the big ideas which we would like to share with you today are the how we bring the geospatial and Earth observation information to benefit the SDGs, identifying key stakeholders and ideas, and empowering these stakeholders in being engaged with the SDGs. And we also highlight the role of new data and technologies for enabling localization and the national SDGs. And we also have a number of resources. So we're looking at, we developed the geospatial roadmap. So this was a structured approach for the national statistical offices to integrate geospatial information into the SDGs. And it helped them implement global geospatial frameworks such as the IGIF and the Global Statistical Geospatial Framework. So all of these resources are available, and also with Rescuing the SDGs, which Mark mentioned, we produced the paper called Rescuing the SDGs with Geospatial Information, and this highlighted the short list, quick wins, and so on. So, Mark, if we want to come back to some of these issues, I'm just conscious of time, I can. So,
we'll come back on this, Mary, in the second round of questions. Yeah. But by the way, maybe it's a good way to come back to the Slido. If you can show the results. I mean, the space agencies, so ESA, there's also JAXA, the Japanese space agencies, and NASA. We are involved in the work of the WGTI, so this working group on geospatial informations, and ERSC. ERSC is also involved, is also part of that group with Monica. And so, I wanted to see the results. Okay, can you show the previous one to see the results of, because I wanted to see how much the private sector is involved in the, because I'm not expecting a high number, so this is why I don't know if there's a possibility to go back. If it's not possible, it's it's more than what I thought. Okay, 50% have been involved in the SDGs, not bad. Yeah, and I don't know what the other. Okay, because you put service providers research. Yes, but I would have liked to know if they've been involved. What is the percentage of the?
My first reply was yes.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, I would have asked to do the questions in another way, just to know if you've been involved or not. So, okay, I didn't look it so, but it's clear that it's more the research providers that are involved. But okay. There is value also in this poll. So the second one, probably you should do this because we are going to talk about challenges now with the next panelist. I don't know if you already started. Is that if you could, need to go back to my notes as well. If you could, sorry, I'm asking a lot of work on the other side. If you could give, in your views, what are the most significant, for those who have been involved, but also others. You can have your viewpoint. What are the biggest challenges that you see, according to you, to integrate those observations in the official statistics and SDG indicators? And it can be technical, can be institutional, can be organizational, can be financial, can be anything. So since we are talking about challenges, I'll go to Eurostat and to Frédéric. And I would like to see, so we can show now the panelists. I would like to see what are the main challenges that Eurostat has been facing when integrating Earth observation in the SDG indicator framework in Europe and integrating Earth observations in official statistic workflows. So what progress have you done, but what are the gaps that are still need to be addressed? Frédéric, and you can of course introduce the work of Eurostat.
Thanks. Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here with you today. I'm leading the Sustainable Development Indicators team at Eurostat, and I'm thus responsible for the annual monitoring of EU progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And indeed, our 2025 monitoring results have just been published last week, including this year for the first time a chapter on sustainable development indicators at regional level. So as we heard before, also localizing the SDGs a little bit is quite important. So we're trying to give a small overview of that now as well in our monitoring report. And maybe for those that are not familiar with the work of Eurostat, so Eurostat is the statistical office of the European Union, and our mission is to provide high-quality statistics and data on Europe in partnership with the national statistical institutes and other national authorities in the EU member states. Yeah, I think that's it for for what we do. And to your question, Mark, before speaking about the challenges, I would like to stress the strong impetus that the monitoring of SDGs has brought to the statistical community, the Earth observation industry, and academia as well. The SDGs have really been accelerating the exploration of new data sources for statistical data use, so including the Earth observation data, and this is what Mary already told us about. But the SDGs also triggered, I think, the communication between different sectors, which might otherwise not have taken place. And I think this panel here and this panel on having the Earth observation industry and statisticians together is the best example of this, really. So yes, Earth observation has been extremely useful, also for setting up several of the EU SDG indicators, in particular in the SDG 11, the Sustainable Cities and Communities, the SDG 14, Life Below Water, and SDG 15, Life on Land. And the strength of the Earth observation data incontestably lays in the full geographical coverage and consistency across the EU, which makes it particularly valuable for us as the European Statistical Office. The challenges that we are facing are, above all, the timeliness and synchronization of the Earth observation products, which affect the stability of our statistical time series. In some cases, we also have issues with the thematic classifications that do not fully align with our statistical concepts. And in general, the biggest issue for us probably is that the Earth observation information still requires a lot of processing to be really useful for our statistical purposes. So here, for us, ideally, the Earth observation industry would prepare more ready-to-use products that statisticians can use directly, and that include also tools to estimate the statistical quality of the Earth observation data. But since you also asked for the progress we have made so far, so we do have several indicators based on the Earth observation data in our current EU SDG indicator set, and those are most importantly the areas impacted by drought. We have the soil sealing index. I know that Earth observation is providing base layers also for the risk of soil erosion and for the global mean surface seawater acidity, and for marine waters affected by eutrophication. So those are just examples where we are using already Earth observation data. And yeah, maybe I leave it here for the moment.
No, but that's nice, Frederick. And actually, I mean, I take 2 points of this. I mean, the SDG indicators were actually an opportunity to integrate Earth observation in official statistics, and actually it make a big difference in the national statistical offices. And it implies actually the NSOs to work more with the other agencies that provide, that can deliver environment, well, let's say statistics, for example, environmental statistics, but so the mapping agencies, the environmental agencies, so to work better inside the countries and better with the private sector. Huh? So maybe we'll show the challenges. You have the challenges from the Slido that we see from the EO perspective, because I guess that you are more from the EO world. So what I see, resolutions of the EO data, no clear taxonomy or typology, correction to the cooperation enhance, what is it? Yeah. Strengthen the cooperation and enhancement of the, yeah, sorry, that was a national, I mean, the cooperation between the National Statistical Institutes and the National Mapping let's see, I don't remember, census agencies. We go down, not involved at all. Maybe strengthen the cooperation and enhance the knowledge, again, with the mapping agencies. Accuracy and certainties, yeah. The statistical community want unbiased statistics. Prescribe the use of EO, agreement on validity of data and applications, data collection methods. This is very important because you know that when we do Earth observations products, we need also in situ data, so we need data to be collected, and sometimes they come also they come from the national organization, semantic interoperability, standardized methodology. So yeah, interoperability, that was mentioned also. So these are all excellent and valid points. And maybe that's the way, Manuela, it's since you are you are representing a bit the Earth observation community here, and yeah, you have been faced with these problems in the SDGIs project. So maybe if you can share your experience.
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this very interesting panel and also conference. Yeah, I'm Manuela Balsarolo from CMCC. CMCC is the Foundation Euro-Mediterranean on Climate Change. It's located in Italy, and we are working on different aspects on climate. We do climate prediction, but we also have the Institute of Climate Resilience, where I'm working, and I lead the part on Earth observation for land ecosystem monitoring. And I'm the coordinator of the SDGIs project that it aims to use the Copernicus services to produce tools for SDG monitoring. The first thing that I learned during the SDG, that if we talk to SDG, we need to take care, if you want to look at UN SDG or Eurostat reporting, and this is this was the first thing that I learned. So that's this a point that we have to think about for the further development of and also for the integration of Earth observation. Some of points that are important from and we learn using. In the development of the project are already touched. I saw the answers from the second slide, and it's normal. If you want to produce a robust tool for monitoring SDGs, we need high quality data, harmonized data set, and with an associated accuracies as well, we can get this information from Copernicus data, from Earth observation, because nowadays we have a lot of services with also quality flags, so we can know about the quality. And the process of Copernicus data is standardized. So I think we do not have to invent new things because we have already a clear workflow of data processing. What we need to improve is the step further, how we can translate the information that we get from Copernicus into this indicator, how we can merge this information and translate it in this UN or Eurostat indicator. And this is an important point because I think we have to also divide like the indicator, I think, in 3 big groups. One, it's indicators that are related more to land classification and land statistics, like for agriculture, for forestry. We can do very well with Earth observation, and we have a lot of study that merge well statistics for agriculture. So this is one group of indicators that can be quickly treated using Earth observation. And I see also integration, easy integration, if can be easy, into the national offices. And we can also have tools that can be useful for countries that do not have already statistical system for reporting on SDGs. This is one part, but if we think to climate action, for instance, the indicator on the climate action, in this indicator we have a lot of parts that are related to or to the population risk for climate or to ecosystem processes that are not really related to what we sense from Earth observation. So in this case, we need to have in situ data, good in situ data, in situ information that are from sensitive information on population, on health population. And so we face in a new problem that we need to be in contact with health systems and use this data to build new models. And this is one point, and it's the same point also, we are now in a changing world, in a new climate phase, and we know that also for forestry we have the change from one year to another year of the forest cover, but we do not know which is the real cause of the changing, and it might be that in the next future we have to take into account of this part. For instance, we have fires. There are indicators related to fires, but we do not have yet a very useful products from satellite that can describe local behavior of fires. So that's another point. So what I see really a lot of good perspective, and the thing that I would say, we need also to think to actional tools. So, and we all together think that we need tools and produce a number in an easy way that can be used for national offices or for policy makers.
Thanks, Manuela. Maybe one point I will take from all these discussions, because we heard Frédéric saying that they need fit for purpose, or what was the word that she used? It's very similar to analysis-ready data that we have in the space community, but more from the use by the statistical community. And on the other hand, the community need field data that are also fit for purpose. So the fit for purpose is all actually everywhere. So I still want, because I see that I only have 2 minutes left, but I still want to go with the second round, so we'll go a bit behind the time allocated to the last question, because the last question is about what should we do to do better, and that's really important, and how the private company should be involved. So I would start with Dominic, because you're working a bit on the collaboration between the statistical and the EO communities, and the question is, how can this be institutionalized?
Okay, so
Nice word, but
yeah, and it's a very difficult question if I think about it now. What can be done, but what can be done effectively? Because that's a big difference. And I think I'll probably be provocative, but what I see as a problem is that there is a lack of will to collaborate. Really, I mean, what I see is that a lot of is being done. But we need to move beyond ad hoc projects and create enduring, sustainable partnerships. And those problems I see are related to sustainability. I have an impression that there's a lot of things being done, but they're not sustainable. They're not continued. They're just ad hoc. They're just because somebody came up with the idea, they financed for a moment, and then moved away his focus to something else. The second thing, maturity of the applications. I think that we're still at the initial stage. We're doing a lot of data blending, but not really data fusion. And that we need, strong methodologies for that. And the third thing that I wanted to say, probably the most important, is that despite declarations, actors seem to still be afraid of each other. And this is a very kind of like, thing characteristic to the public sector, this kind of an approach that I call my precious, like Gollum from World of the Rings. They want to keep their precious because the public sector is not really competing on a competitive market. There are no profits. It is very hard to benchmark those institutions. So the only thing that you can brag about is that they keep something for themselves, keep monopoly, and they just brag about it all the time. And that really brings in the approach of being very not prone to collaborate with the external partners, especially with the private sector. But I want to raise this issue of cost efficiency again. If we want to improve cost efficiency, there's no other way than the close partnerships and collaborations in between public and private sectors, and this kind of a will to democratize data production, also including official statistical data production. There has to be more actors included, collaborating, leveraging their own competitive advantages, and doing something for the good of society at a much lower cost generally for the society, no matter how you account for that. So that I would think about it. This thing, I don't want to cover because there's a lot to be said in terms of the methodological issues. We're still in the initial stage, and we need a lot of methodologies being developed to blend those data effectively and more deeply. And finally, I want to say that the supportive environment is very important. So we need to create some, wider strategies that are aligning different priorities of different actors in a way that we build a supportive environment and effectively improve the capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. So keywords, continuity, maturity, robustness, cost effectiveness, trust, and enabling environment. This is what I took from your points. Mary, you've done this very nice report on rescuing the SDGs with geospatial informations. Can you a bit elaborate on the work you will do now, starting from that document, in order to help close the data gaps and strengthen the use of geospatial information and EO in the SDG implementation?
Well, looking from the perspective of the Statistical Institute's Mark, some of the critical actions we would see on rescuing the SDGs would be implementing the frameworks which are covered in the geospatial roadmap. So that's the roadmap on how the National Statistical Institutes can integrate the geospatial information, and it also involves collaboration with the national mapping institutes. So implementing the geospatial framework such as the IGIF, which is the Integration of Geospatial Information Framework, and the GSGF, the Global Statistical Geospatial Framework. So there are a lot of resources and standards and methodologies at UN level. So these standard methodologies emphasize clear and consistent methods for processing, analyzing the Earth observation data and integrating it into the SDGs. And as Frederica and our other panelists mentioned, data accessibility and making it accessible to the statisticians. The Earth observation data needs to be comparable across the countries and regions, so therefore standardizing methodologies is vital. We also emphasize the importance of the collaboration and capacity building. There's a lot of great work done with collaborating with the Earth observation community and the custodian agencies. So the custodian agencies such as the Food and Agricultural Organization are responsible for a significant number of the indicators. And FAO have done great work in looking at deforestation in Brazil with Earth observation data. So it's important that this collaboration and capacity building is shared with forums such as these, and the UNEC expert group on statistics for SDGs, and then there's the UNEC meeting every year, which focuses on statistics, and the workshop. So all these fora, and there's the European Forum on Geography and Statistics in Oslo in September. All these fora are very important for bringing the communities, the geospatial ecosystem together and showcasing case studies. So with the rescuing paper, we also produced the mapping. We've used storytelling. So story maps are an important element of communicating all these case studies, and they can share the work that has already been done with Earth observation in various countries. And while the UN emphasizes country-owned, country-led data, we must recognize that country data can only take us so far. So it's important to use this Earth observation global data sets, which are scientifically trusted, consistent data sources and methodologies, and these will fill the national data gaps. And also to emphasize that some of the indicators are, well, all the environmental indicators are global in nature. For instance, SDG 15, which focuses on water-based ecosystems, the extent of these, and this is SDG 661, and Earth observation can look at these, and ecosystems don't recognize country borders. And similarly, coastal eutrophication, which is SDG 14, and forestry area, SDG 15, all of these can be significantly enhanced. So with the rescuing paper, we're highlighting the low-hanging fruit in the short list. So these are indicators that can be directly produced by Earth observation and the geospatial community, or else list B, which they can significantly enhance the localization and granularity of the SDGs and contribute significantly. And the rescuing paper also emphasizes that the geospatial information, again, it's Tina mentioned the modernization of statistics. We can look at trends and overall patterns that we can't produce with traditional national statistics information. And these are all important developments. The technology and the methodologies, as well as the data itself, are a significant focus. So just to sum up then, and some of the things we highlight with the geospatial map and the rescuing paper are addressing the data gaps with geospatial information, and also bridging the gap between the geospatial and the statistical community, improving SDG reporting by enhancing it with geospatial and Earth observation data, leveraging these new data sources and utilizing the existing resources. So it's a question of not reinventing the wheel, that if the data is out there and it's trusted, the methodology is robust and the data is consistently produced, then we need to look at this. And just to the geospatial and Earth observation community, I would say if we focus on prioritizing needs, focus on specific indicators where Earth observation can provide a significant value, and look at national needs and specific challenges, as you mentioned previously, the data.
Mary, I need to give the floor to the other three. The final panelist, sorry to interrupt you, but you raised so many important points, but I still want to give just a bit of time. Unfortunately, you are the last three panelists,
No problem.
So maybe just 30 seconds, 1 minute. Yeah, lunch is waiting. I'm so sorry for this, but I mean, you have so much to say.
No, I'll finish up now to say to focus on prioritizing the needs and decision making, which is based on the data. So it's
Thank you, Mary.
Decision making is the conclusion of what we are looking for.
So for the last, sorry for the last three panelists, but you have only between 30 seconds and 1 minute. I want to see the clock there. So Tina, Friedrich, and then Manuela, because you represent Earth observation community. Tina.
So just to say also how important for all this is international and regional cooperation, because it's important to bring the countries together so that they can discuss common challenges, facilitate peer learning, standardized methodologies so that the results would be comparable between countries. We can also develop actually common and shared infrastructure and tools which would help each one. And this cross-agency, cross-institutional collaboration that was mentioned by several people, this is extremely important.
Thanks, Tina. It was 30 seconds. Friedrich, still online? If you have your final words. Federica?
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot. I think I said most already in my first intervention, so I can be really short. I mean, the European statistical system will definitely continue to explore Earth observation data, as it will also explore other new data sources, continue to explore it in the future. As I said before, I think we really learned a lot from the SDG monitoring process of the last 10 years, and these are experiences that we can build on now for the future. We definitely see an added value in the improved communication across different sectors, and also here having a network that we can benefit from in the future will be very valuable. And maybe concretely also Eurostat, there is currently an Earth observation for statistics task force that creates synergies within the European statistical system and within Eurostat, and tries to liaise across different statistical domains. And with this in mind, of course, we concentrate on the statistics. We do not process the Earth observation data, but I think there will be an opportunity for enhanced communication with the industry sector and see where we can come together for it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Frederica. I mean, and she mentioned something very important, that Eurostat for the first time has a team working on Earth observations. This was not existing. And Manuela, I still want to give you the floor.
Just three words.
2 words.
Two words. So I think we need collaboration in terms of co-design of tools that should answer statistical office needs and policy needs. And another thing, we need also multidisciplinary approach and expertise, because it's a very complex effort to bring Earth observation into statistical office for monitoring of the SDG.
Thank you. So I had also some concluding remarks. I skipped everything. So I just would like to thank all of you, all the panelists, for their contributions. Of course, for you here in the room and online for your attentions. And I think they all deserve a very nice round of applause. Thank you.